What's up, guys? Welcome to a new journal entry. It is currently October 7th, 2025, and I have a conscious filter every time I do these videos now because I posted one of them. My intention, though, is to not filter myself at all in this one, potentially never post it. I just need to kind of air some shit out. I've been the most stressed I've ever been. I've failed my personal development challenge that I've created multiple times now. It's been very hard. The behaviors of scrolling social media and also masturbation have been extremely difficult for me to eliminate. And that's why I created the challenge for myself and other men, because those behaviors don't necessarily need to be eliminated long term, but one, I think, certainly needs to develop the muscle to eliminate them short term. And so that's still a project I'm working on with my own self-development. I know I need to master that side of myself, master my energy, or at least significantly develop and evolve myself in that regard. I've been forged greatly through this whole process. Every ounce of difficulty and adversity that I face is forging me and developing me into the version of myself I need to become. I know that if someone is stuck in general, it just means they haven't learned certain lessons or developed certain skills in order to overcome the challenge. I need to do something. I need to change something. What does that look like? Am I just sabotaging myself? I think that a lot of the lessons I know I need to learn have to happen kind of simultaneously in order for me to break through here. But in order to really step into my passion, step into the true unique mechanism of elite self, I think it requires me to significantly evolve just to do that, because it requires probably a significant amount of deep work to study, to build frameworks, to actually create modules, to create something that I would actually shout from the rooftops about to help men. To create something truly differentiable, I need to go deep. And this is where the Elite Self Challenge comes in too, because it's a dopamine detox amongst other things, which I need. But this is the only way through. This is the only way through. There is no other way through. So today I will organize my frameworks. I'll organize what could be the self-development course for men, providing education around all the major areas of self-development, and then building frameworks, maybe even to the extent of filming a new video or two today, having one product. What is the avatar? If I have such a comprehensive self-development course, how can it be one avatar? I think the avatar will have a psychographic of needing to max out their true potential, but they just really know they're falling short with the version of themselves they're showing up as. If I can articulate that in a super succinct way, I think that's my avatar. A man that knows he's capable of more, but is falling short and doesn't know what to do. So ultimately, that's what I've been. So this process, what does it entail? It entails a complete elimination of all of my coping mechanisms, the big, significant, highly detrimental coping mechanisms, and also just the little ones. And the list off the top of my head is social media scrolling, masturbation. These have been two things that I've done ever since late middle school, early high school, very consistently at an addiction level in order to take the edge off, to distract myself. If we look at it on a more emotional and biological level, social media scrolling, masturbation, your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and artificial sources of dopamine, serotonin, love, connection, social connection, external validation. And so our system, our brain, our nervous system, it latches on to these things because we are wired to survive. And our brain and nervous system thinks that by masturbating or scrolling social media or watching porn, that we are connected, that we are having sex, that we're reproducing, that we are part of a social tribe, that we are wanted, that we are connected. But in reality, none of those things are happening, but our brain and nervous system thinks that it is. And so those activities, they satiate us until we need the next hit, literally like a drug addict. In reality, nothing is actually happening except wasting time and energy. And this is why, and I know I'm not the only one with us that's struggled with a social media and masturbation addiction, especially with men. This is why OnlyFans is freaking however many billion industry now, porn industry. Social media is like soft porn a lot of the time these days. And probably not supposed to say those words because my video might get less views, but whatever. So anyways, those have been coping mechanisms for me. Food used to be a mild coping mechanism for me, where I would kind of like stuff myself just to feel that feeling that you get of relaxation almost, and dopamine from food. And thankfully throughout my journey, this wasn't a major coping mechanism, and I worked out a ton, so all the calories went towards something productive instead of extra fat. But that was one that I actually kind of handled a few years ago. Now I don't really look to food for a dopamine source as much. I pretty much eat the same thing every day. Less conscious coping mechanisms have even been picking my nails. Picking one's nails are kind of a very common sign of like anxiety or nervousness and things of this nature. This has been something I've done since I was a kid that has been difficult to shake as well. I just do it subconsciously, and so this is one example of a less potent coping mechanism in a sense, because when the body feels uncertain or anxious, it gains a little bit of certainty through nail picking, a little bit of comfort, a little bit of familiarity. And it's super interesting. Also, on a very subconscious level too, I shake my legs a lot. You guys know when you're sitting and you're just like shaking, right? It's, to my understanding, just a lot of stuck energy within the body that the body is attempting to express physically. And perhaps it does express it physically in a very mild manner by shaking one's legs, because shaking is an energy release. And so all of these things, whether it's porn, masturbation, leg shaking, nail picking, or other coping mechanisms, including drug use, alcohol use, binge eating, or anything else. You can use a lot of different things to cope. It's all kind of baked into the same equation, which is our body, which is our suppressed emotion, our trauma, our wiring. And so I think it's worth it to master oneself and to attempt to rewire oneself such that none of these coping mechanisms exist anymore. So that's why I created this challenge, this 30-day challenge, which I have a YouTube video on a few videos ago, which is 30 days of a 45-minute workout of any kind, physical activity of any kind, 10 pages of a nonfiction book, 10 minutes of meditation, 4 liters of water, no porn, no masturbation, no drugs, no alcohol, no mindless scrolling on social media, and no junk food. So this eliminates a lot of coping mechanisms that a lot of men have, and it's hard to create a challenge that specifically fits what every single man needs. However, this hits the nail on the head for the things that 95% of men struggle with in some way. And even if it's not an exhaustive challenge, meaning it doesn't address every single struggle a man has or every single addiction a man has, even if a man has other addictions, mastering these ones will develop the muscle of self-control and self-mastery, and it will force one to develop different mechanisms to cope, different outlets that they can apply to other areas of their life that they're struggling with as well. And so I created this challenge knowing it was going to be hard for me. I've failed it 4 times now. I made it 14 days and then 4 days and then another 4 days maybe and then another 7 days. And the social media aspect has been super challenging for me, as well as the masturbation aspect. Obviously, these have been my 2 main coping mechanisms. Everything else has been relatively easy. So anyways, this was a journal entry turned into a thing that I'll probably post on YouTube, just because that's what I do these days. I want to share, the behind the scenes, the messy process that I go through to attempt to really evolve myself into the version of myself I know I need to become in order to max out my true potential. Because I know that in order to build my company and build the vision that I have for my company, to help solve major world problems, to impact the world on a large scale, I have to develop into this version of myself. And in doing so, help millions of other men develop into this version of themselves as well, whatever version of themselves they know they need to become to create their true potential and to create the impact on the world they know they're truly meant to create. Because oftentimes the versions of ourselves we find ourselves living as adults is highly handicapped by addiction, limiting beliefs, suppressed emotion, childhood trauma, and we can't really do much as that version of ourselves. So it's our responsibility to heal ourselves, to evolve, and to become the versions of ourselves we need to max out our true potential. So that's the mission. Hard mission, but it's a mission that's worth fighting for. It's a mission that's worth indulging in fully, because the alternative is leaving some of your potential, if not most of your potential, on the table by the time you die, and that's a flavor of regret I think most of us don't want to experience if we're real with ourselves. And so I'm going to share my process along the way, hopefully inspire a few of you or a lot of you eventually to do the same with yourself, because the world needs more people that are attempting to develop themselves and create a positive impact. So that's what I'm here to do. That's the ripple effect I want to create. And I appreciate every one of you that is along the ride to do the same and to develop yourselves. So I'll end it there. If you stuck with me through this one, appreciate your time.